She was young and beautiful, with the world at her fingertips.
She was one of those ones that people just draw to.
Loved people, caring, sharing, would give her very last to anyone. She was quite a girl.
He was the easygoing star of the football team, who swept her off her feet.
This always was Mondre, oh Mondre.
Together, their chemistry could light up a stadium.
That attraction lasted from middle school to high school to after graduation. It was always them. I've never seen her so attracted to anyone else.
But just as their relationship made the transition from puppy love to full-blown romance, a mysterious disappearance rocked their world.
A lot of people in the neighborhood were concerned.
I was praying to God to help me.
The search for the truth will expose a secret so powerful and so heartbreaking, it will leave one family desperate for justice.
It was like something you see in a drama movie. You don't expect for these things to happen to you or to happen in your family.
Friday, September 12th, 2008. It's a warm autumn evening in Shreveport, Louisiana, when James and Glenda Watson make their way to a local fishing hole off LaGuardia Road.
Let's try this spot right up here.
Okay.
Only the locals knew about it. I mean, if you did not know about this place, you would never find it. This should be a good spot.
Yeah, I think so.
They were out fishing, and he and his companion noticed something floating in the water.
What's that over under the tree?
Oh, I'm not sure.
We'll go check it out. They were some ways off, so he went over to check. That looks like a body.
They realized that it's a body.
The water had been snake infested, the body was ravaged and bloated, and in fact, skin was starting to come off the body.
They immediately leave the area and call the police.
As authorities race to the scene, little do they know that this investigation is about to collide with another case that's boiling over with passion, shrouded in secrets, with a beautiful co-ed at its heart. Born January 22nd, 1990, Tavia Sills was beloved by friends and family alike.
She's the third and she's between the two girls. Tavia was fun and funny growing up. She had her little things that she did that, all the siblings played together. She made everybody laugh. She was really silly, but really caring.
If you would have known her, you would say, oh my God, I just love being around her because she's so bubbly, so happy all the time.
She was one of those ones that people just draw to.
By the time she was in high school, Tavia was drawing attention from the opposite sex as well.
She had this bright, big, pretty smile. And she had pretty big eyes too. But she was gorgeous. Guys were attracted to Tavia.
Despite all the attention from the boys at school, Tavia never lost sight of the bigger picture.
Tavia stuck with her education, and that was the only point that she had. All she wanted was to be in the books, be successful, and make it in life. She always wanted to be a nurse. She wanted to start out in phlebotomy, then get more education and become a nurse.
But there was one young man who Tavia was willing to take off from her schoolwork to be with.
Hey, boo.
Hey, baby. What are you doing?
Lamondre Tucker.
What do you think? To see you.
Most of the girls loved him.
Baby, I told you I needed to study all day.
Mondre was a handsome boy. He was. He had long hair, tall. This always was Mondre, oh Mondre would do this, or Mondre wanted to do that.
A star athlete on the football field, Lamondre had been smitten with Tavia since middle school.
They started dating in the 8th grade. He would come to her birthday parties, and they would talk and everything.
By their senior year in high school, the pair's friendship had morphed into a full-fledged romance.
Knew my mama catch us, we in trouble, right?
I was not thinking that too.
I think what drew Tavia to Lamondre was that he was in school playing football, star football player, just goofy like her, just a nice personality like her. She liked horses, and he rode horses with a trail ride club. Just personality, I believe, drew her close to him.
Tavia was happy with her relationship with Lamondre.
Tavia was in love with Lamondre. It wasn't just love. She was actually in love with him. She really cared about him.
So, after high school, you think we'll be together forever?
Of course.
For the young couple, Tavia had been accepted to Southern University, while Lamondre was fielding offers from major college football programs.
He had discussed college scholarships with a number of schools.
But that summer after graduation, Tavia made a confession to her close friend, Sharon Green.
See what's going on. Okay, I gotta say something.
She was like, you can't tell anybody, but I think I might be pregnant.
You're pregnant. Okay.
She said that Mondre was her father.
You're serious?
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
I'm trying to go to school. Yeah, I can't go to class with a baby. You can't do it.
So she took a pregnancy test and she was pregnant. And at that point, she told her family and decided to keep the baby.
I was kind of shocked when I found out that Tavia was intimate at all. I didn't think Tavia was doing anything like that. But, considering she's a teenager, that's what teenagers do. I told her, don't worry about it. Just do what you need to do, and, we'll take care of the baby. I was excited for her when she got pregnant. I honestly was. I was like, now I have a new niece or nephew by my baby sister.
All right, y'all. Presents, come on.
As for Lamondre, he seemed thrilled at the prospect of being a father.
He said, it's my baby. I'll do what I can to take care of it. He was excited. He actually told Mom and myself that the baby in the ultrasound actually looked like him.
He gonna play basketball.
Oh,
because I already did football, so we already got that discovered.
Okay.
With Lamondre standing by Tavia's side, the couple's future still seemed as bright as ever.
Even with pregnancy, the couple kept working towards their goals. Tavia was preparing to enroll in Southern University, and Lamondre was working hard to boost his GPA to better his chances of getting into a school with great academics and great football.
But little did anyone know that in just 2 short months, a shocking disappearance would rip apart their lives. A mystery that would propel a family on a frantic search for the truth and leave a community desperate for answers.
We didn't know whether something had happened or she was lost somewhere. We didn't know.
In the fall of 2008, 18-year-old Tavia Sills seemed on top of the world. Smart, beautiful, and deeply ambitious, Tavia was Tavia
always wanted to help others throughout her life, and that's basically what she did. She stayed in her books. When she graduated, she went on to Southern University. She did her very best. Even when she got into college, she was determined to make the grade and do what she had to do.
And the fact that she was 5 months pregnant didn't slow Tavia down one bit.
She finished school. She's in college now. Tavia's finna have a baby. Perfect. Tavia was in love with Mondre since middle school, so it was a joy.
Lamondre was really supportive, even though he was focused on getting his academics in order so that he could play college football at the highest possible level. He always made time for Tavia.
But on the evening of September 9th, 2008, Tavia and Lamondre's life takes a dramatic turn. It starts when Detective Rodney Demery of the Shreveport Police Department receives a call from Tavia's mother, Vicki Britton.
Miss Britton reported that Miss Sills, her daughter, had not returned home. She was very, very in touch with her daughter. I think they had a very special relationship. The fact that Tavia didn't call her alarmed her.
Detective Demery heads to the Sills' home to take a statement.
Can you tell us the last time you seen Tavia?
It was about 7:30. She said her and Lamondre was going to go out.
Tavia came in and she told me that Lamondre wanted to know, was it okay if he took her to meet his sister on his dad's side. She looked at me and she said, I love you. I said, I love you too, baby.
Vicky says Lamondre returned to their home a half hour later, all alone.
He knocked on my bedroom door and said, I just come to tell you that I dropped Tavia out at the apartment.
He took Tavia to the Prince Village apartment so she could see her sister. And he left her there, and then he returned to her home and explained to her parents that he had left her there.
It's unlike Tavia not to answer her phone.
Well, maybe there's a reasonable explanation. Maybe her phone died or something.
Well, you see, there is something else.
I told him about the rape.
According to Vicky, the incident had occurred at a nearby park while Tavia and Lamondre were on a date back in July.
Tavia and Lamondre went riding, and they parked at the David Raines Park.
Two guys came to the car, put guns to their head.
Whoa, oh my God. Shut the hell up before you're dead.
They blindfolded my sister and made Lamondre drive. And they drove her past the train station that's right up the road from the park. And once they got down there,
Scared for her life, she didn't know what to do, and she said she automatically started praying. And then she started to hear Mondre scream, and she thought they had to be hitting him.
He's pregnant. Please, he don't want to do this. Please.
they threw her on the ground, they stomped on her, they raped her.
This terrible event went on for a while, but before the attackers fled the scene, they delivered a threat to Lamondre and Tavia.
Don't tell anybody, or I'll kill you and your family.
When Tavia told me that, I told her she needed to call the police. And she was telling me that they had told her that if she told anybody, they were going to kill the whole family. And I told her, don't worry about us. God had us. We were going to be safe. And she called the police department.
But as she spoke to police, Tavia began having second thoughts.
She asked the police if she reported it, would they be able to protect her family? And the police told her they couldn't guarantee her that. So therefore, the rape never got reported because she wouldn't. I tried to report it, but because of her age, because of Tavia's age, she had to be the one to do it.
Thankfully, a hospital visit revealed the rape had caused no harm to Tavia's unborn child. Tavia was relieved, and in the months that followed, she and Lamondre tried to stay positive and put their life back together. But it wasn't easy.
I noticed a lot of change in her. She didn't want to sleep in her own bed. She didn't want to sit near a window.
It seemed like her and Lamondre were there for each other in the wake of the attack. Something like that could really hurt a relationship, especially one where the couple is expecting a child.
For detectives, the rape allegations are a significant development in Tavia's disappearance.
Maybe these two guys came back. Is it possible that they had heard that Tavia told her family about the attack? They wanted to make sure that she could never testify against them.
But without an incident report, investigators don't have much to work with. So they start with the one person who might be able to help them, Lamondre.
He was the last person that she was with. So if he did drop her off where he said he did, or anything along those lines, I wanted to get that information from him.
Well, do you know where Lamondre might be right now?
No, but I can call him and we can get him over here right now.
Lamondre is more than willing to help detectives any way he can.
He was just willing to share a helping hand.
He gave Detective Demery the same version of events that he had given to Vicky Britton, Tavia's mother. Said that he had dropped her off at the Prince Village Apartments.
According to Lamondre, he and Tavia left her.
Once we got to my sister's house, I don't know how many times, and no one answered. So when we was going back to her parents' house, she said she wanted to go to her sister's house. I said, that's fine.
And he say, well, me and Tay, we talked about the baby and things like that, and she said she needs some clothes and her hair done, so I dropped off at the apartments.
So after I dropped her at her sister's house, I went back to her parents' house just to tell her where she was at.
And have you spoken with Tavia since then?
No, I've been trying to find her. I tried to figure out where she might be. Nowhere. I'm just hoping it had nothing to do with the incident.
You mean the assault?
Yeah.
You have any idea who these men were?
No.
Lamondre was cooperative. There was no evidence of foul play. So I think everyone was still holding out hope that Tavia would safely turn up.
After speaking with Lamondre, investigators reach out to Tavia's sister, Tequila. She tells them Tavia never made it to her apartment that night.
She never made it to me. I was actually in the hospital when I found out Tavia was missing.
Tavia didn't call me. She didn't come and visit me, and I thought that was very unusual for Tavia, so I started getting a little worried.
At this point, there were a lot of questions. Had someone been following Tavia and abducted her when Lamondre dropped her off outside her sister's apartment? Had Lamondre seen her enter the apartment? Or did he just assume she got in there safely? And who are these men that attacked her and Lamondre in July? Were they possibly responsible for her disappearance?
But as the search for Tavia intensifies, another revelation will come to light. One that will rock Tavia's friends and family to their core.
I balled up like a baby, and my heart was racing. You know, I was praying to God to help me, help my heart stop racing so I'll be able to accept what I'm about to hear.
It's September 9th, 2008. 18-year-old mother-to-be Tavia Sills has disappeared without a trace.
That particular night, we didn't get no sleep. We got up the next morning and we went about looking around.
I was concerned about my child. You know, I was praying to God to help me.
We just went asking around, anybody saw her, and all of her friends and all of that, and no one seemed to have saw her. I knew then something was wrong.
Shreveport investigators share that fear, especially after learning that two unknown men had violently raped Tavia a few months earlier and threatened to kill her if she or her boyfriend Lamondre told anyone about the incident.
That was very troubling and certainly made these unknown assailants public enemy number one in this case and likely responsible for Tavia's disappearance.
Knowing that Tavia is 5 months for a 24-hour grace period, and with the help of her family, the search for Tavia is at full speed within hours.
We printed flyers. People from school, from Green Oaks High School, got off the buses and came. Help look, search.
They had put out posters, tried to get her picture put out on media.
On day 3 of the search, Detective Rod Demery receives a call from a colleague that changes everything.
I get a phone call from a person at the police department told me that they had found a body at a desolate location in a pond in the same area of town where Tavia lived.
There was an older couple who were out fishing this particular day, and the man noticed what he observed on the surface of the pond to be a body.
As Detective Demery races to the scene, he gets a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach.
I kind of suspected that it was going to have a very bad ending.
But after the corpse is pulled from the pond, it's clear a quick identification won't be easy.
It's pretty far decomposed. Can't tell if it's male or female.
You know, as the body starts to decompose under the water, it's kind of rapid. So it's very, very difficult to determine whether or not it was a male, female, or even the race.
Can we determine what was the cause of death?
We're guessing this person's been shot. We got a casing and a piece of gum.
There was no way to tell what the initial wounds were until the body was actually brought out and examined. We knew she had on some blue jeans and some sneakers. I instructed the crime scene folks on what areas I wanted to pay particular attention to. We retrieved some chewing gum to try to grab some DNA. Then it takes several weeks.
While awaiting the results of the examination, Detective Demery pays Tavia's family another visit.
There was no certainty that it was Miss Sills at that point, but it was suspected. And I went to her house.
And that's when he told me that they had found a body in the pond. And that they had every reason to believe that it was Tavia.
What was she wearing?
What we saw so far, she had on jeans, blue shoes, and a brown hoodie.
No.
It was her.
Oh my God, no.
I just couldn't believe that this was real. This was happening to me. You know, one of my children. I just felt like my life was over. I broke down. It took at least 3 or 4 of them to keep me up. I cried. I asked for my kids. I wanted my mom. I laid in the bed with my mom for hours.
To know that they not only lost their daughter, but also their...
While Tavia's family and friends struggle to come to grips with what's happened, examiners at the coroner's office are trying to piece together exactly how Tavia died.
Once they were able to turn the body over, it was immediately apparent to them that there were gunshot wounds in the body and that it was not a case of an accidental drowning. It was a case of murder.
Tavia had a gunshot wound to the back that pierced the lung. She had one, they said, grazed the armpit, and if I'm not mistaken, one grazed the Adam's apple area.